Well, folks, welcome to another Friday fishing forecast, and it looks like we're going to have a pretty decent weekend. This last week, we've had a lot of winds, 15 to 25 miles an hour out of the east, small craft advisory, so a lot of people didn't get a chance to get out and fish. But these winds are going to be laying down, and it's going to be an absolutely beautiful weekend. The only thing you really need to look out for is not so much on the coast, but inland. There's going to be some storms that pop up, your typical summertime thunderstorms. So you'll get those, but you really probably are not going to have to worry about it right on the coast because of the sea breeze that's going to kick up. Like I said, the winds are going to be low, so if you want to get offshore, you're definitely going to be able to get offshore. The winds started subsiding today. Actually, it was blowing pretty decent this morning, but then it just started going down and down and down, and it's literally pretty flat calm right now. So looking forward to getting offshore tomorrow. We fished the bay last week, as you saw. I want to thank everybody that commented on that show, and like I said, I want to try to start doing more of that inside the bay fishing, probably during the week at some point. Put some videos out there about that. Now we're getting into the situation to where I think we're real close for that bait to start disappearing. Bait was a little difficult for me this morning on one of the markers. It was there, but it was extremely skittish, and it wouldn't come up fully. It would come up and it would stay up, but then it would go right back down again. So it was a little bit tough on the bait. I know that there's bait on the flats, but we're close. We're close to that bait spawning and disappearing, and then the tiny little bait will show up. So you're probably gonna start getting frustrated with that. We've been fortunate at the shop. Our shrimp have been coming in, and they've been really good sized shrimp. So we're kind of trying to stock up on those and keep the bigger shrimp available as much as we possibly can. We can't help when people come in and buy, 10s and 15s and 20 dozens of, large shrimp and medium shrimp. So, but we're ordering enough to where we can try to keep up with everything on that end of things. Like I said, we're working on a full moon, and of course I hate fishing typically during the day on a full moon because the bite is usually pretty non-existent until the afternoon. That moon has been bright. It was bright last night. It's probably going to be bright again tonight. So I think tonight is the full moon, the actual full moon. From what I'm hearing, a lot of the tarpon have moved offshore to do their spawn. And so that tarpon bite has gone off a little bit. I think the snapper bite's going to be really good at night. We've talked about going and doing a night trip here. We just haven't gotten around to actually do it. So we're probably going to do that sometime. We've got some things that we need to put on the boat that we're going to be testing that I'm looking forward to doing with a gentleman by the name of Drew. And he's going to be on the boat with us tomorrow, so you'll see his story. Let's go ahead and get into the tides and salooners for this weekend and talk about what we have in store. Okay, for Saturday, we have a high tide at 1:03 p.m. at a 2.8 foot. Then we have a low tide at 9:30 p.m. at a negative 0.5 foot. On Sunday, we have a high tide at 1:49 at a 2.8 foot. Then we have a low tide at 10:15 p.m. and a negative 0.5. For the salooners on Saturday, we have a minor feeding time from 6:20 a.m. to 7:20 a.m. Then we have our major feeding time from 1:13 p.m. to 3:13 p.m. Then on Sunday, we have a minor feeding time from 7:24 a.m. to 8:24 a.m. Then we have a major feeding time from 2:11 p.m. to 4:11 p.m. So as you guys can see, the tide is a very long incoming tide for most of the day, and then when it starts to turn and go, it's going to go out really, really fast. So it's what we call the hill tides of the summer, when you get the strong negative tides on the new and full moons, and it's typically really good for tarpon. You get good crab flushes on them, and you can get into a really good bite on tarpon on those hill tides. But again, on that full moon, we think that a lot of those tarpon have moved offshore to spawn, and they'll be back. But for right now, I would probably concentrate on redfish, snapper, snook, trout, things like that. I know the snapper bite, I've been hearing really good reports of the snapper bite being extremely good at the Skyway Bridge. I was talking to William Wise from Bad Fish Charters, and he was telling me he was catching some monsters. So that's a good sign. And that bite should be absolutely going nuts. From now until probably late July is when the best time for those big mangrove snapper, because they're getting ready to spawn also. So they're very, very active, and they're going to put on the feed bags, especially on these full moons. But we've been getting a lot of questions about, what size jig should I use in the bay, and we went over it on that last video when we fished inside the bay, talking about how we typically use a 1 ounce to 1 1/4. I was using actually a 2 ounce when we first started fishing, because the tide was moving pretty good. But then I dropped all the way down to 1/8 of an ounce slacker when the tide slowed up completely. So it really differs. It really goes by what your actual tide is doing to let you know how much weight that you need, because the less weight you can do, the more natural you can present that bait, the better off you are. I just want to talk about also what we've got in store here at the shop. Of course, we have whitebait, we have pinfish, a little bit of pinfish, we have crabs, we have shrimp, and we'll have more stock of shrimp tomorrow. So we've got all the frozen bait that you need. We've got sandwiches, we've got drinks, we've got everything. The only thing we don't carry is gas, and I'm not going to carry gas. But other than that, not too much going on. It's just we're staying really busy here at the shop. If you guys have any questions, if there's a video that you want to see, I definitely would love to hear some suggestions. I'm always struggling with content. What should I do? I want to do some things that are different, and I'm going to need your help with that. So please, if you have any ideas, let me know, because you get brain freeze when you're trying to think of different things to do for content. I just want to say thanks again for watching. We really, really, really appreciate it. Can't do it without you guys. Fish more, catch more, and we'll see you on the flip side.